Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing a video on a around $1,000 computer build, and I believe this is going to be something that people are going to say, hey, I'm going to build a computer, I might as well build it right. I might as well spend a little bit extra money to make sure that it's not going to fail on me, and I'm going to make sure that I have all the bells and whistles that's going to really give me the gaming and really custom PC performance that everybody looks for when they build a custom PC. So I'm going to start off at the top with a CPU, and I chose the Intel Core i5-4670K quad-core processor, and I pretty much chose this because it's a really good baseline when you're going with Intel products. It's not the newest i5 that they have out, but at the same time it's not like 6 generations ago. It's last generation, so it kind of is a little bit cheaper some places than the 4690K that the Intel recently introduced. So that's clocked at 3.4 gigahertz, but honestly, you could probably overclock that to a decent 3.8 without any issues at all, and you could easily bump that up to like 3.6, 3.7 without really changing the lifespan of your processor. So for the CPU cooler, I went with a basic Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, and I think that's what I used on my last build actually for the $550 range. So obviously you're not going to get crazy performance boosts from this, but you're going to be able to get a decent overclock without really worrying too much about heat and issues like that. It's going to be a lot better than the stock cooler. For the motherboard, I chose the MSI Z97 Guard Pro ATX motherboard, and I chose this because I'm a fan of the full ATX motherboards. I don't have one in my current system. I actually have an M-ATX, but I am a big fan of the ATX, and I also chose it because it has a really, really vibrant blue, which I think would look really cool with the keyboard and mouse that I have right now, but that's just kind of personal preference, honestly. I chose the Z97 chipset just because it offers a really wide range of component options, and I personally like the Z97 chipset because you can get a decent overclock with it if you have an unlocked Intel Core i5 like we do. The Intel Core i5-4670K processor is actually unlocked for overclocking. It's really windy out. I apologize if you can hear that in the background. For the memory, I chose the Team Zeus Yellow 8GB 2x4GB sticks, and I chose this because it's really cheap right now. You can get 8 GB for under $60, and you can also take off the heat shields and actually paint them blue if you want to match your motherboard, which I would probably do just because the Team Zeus Yellow are probably one of the ugliest RAM sticks I've ever seen color-wise. For storage, for our boot drive, I actually chose a Samsung 840 EVO 120GB solid state drive. It's absolutely crazy that for an $1,000 build, you're able to get a 120GB SSD anymore, especially a Samsung 840 EVO, which has absolutely insane reviews online. If you want to go and check those out, you can. For our second hard drive, I went ahead and just chose a cheap 2TB hard drive, and we actually got 2 TB for less than $75. So I think that's really good, seeing as how yesterday I made a build and it was 1 TB for like $50. So for an extra $25, you can get an additional terabyte. Essentially, you're doubling your hard drive capacity. For the video card, I decided to go all out and get an EVGA GeForce GTX 970. That's a 4 GB video card, which means that you will be able to run extremely large textures on it. You're going to be able to play at 4K if you really want to. I don't see why you would want to because it would have really low frames per second. But at 1080p, you're going to absolutely wreck games. On games like Grid Autosport, the frame should never really drop below 72, and that is with the Ultra Detail preset and all the bells and whistle graphics going on in the background. So if you jump into Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you'll drop below that perfect 60 plus frames per second minimum, even on high settings with God raised low and PhysX particles off. You can expect to get a minimum of 52 frames per second and on average 60, which is actually really good, but it's kind of below that 60 frames per second, which a lot of people like require. out of a graphics card, but honestly, unless you're dropping under like 40, you really shouldn't notice a lag spike, especially since that minimum of 52 frames per second includes when you have lag spikes. So you're not really going to see anything crazy where your screen is stuttering or your screen freezes for a second whenever you see like explosions or anything like that. Watch Dogs, on the other hand, performs beautifully. It never drops below 62 frames per second, and it averages around 72 frames per second. On Far Cry 3 on high detail presets, we couldn't even get this thing to drop below a minimum of 64 frames per second in benchmarks, so that's actually really impressive, especially since this isn't an insane build. This is kind of like a top of the line build, but we're not going extremely crazy with any of our components. For our case, I went with the NZXT S340 white ATX mid-tower case, and I did this just because I think it looks cool. It has a big old window on the side so you can really show off all your components, and you can get it for around $65, which is actually pretty crazy right now for a decent case like this. It has really good cable management, which really gives it a more professional look without doing anything really extra. For our power supply, I went with an EVGA 750 watt 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular power supply. And I did this because there was a $20 mail-in rebate through NCIX, so I could actually get this for $60 instead of $80 right now. And at 750 watts, it really gives us an opportunity to upgrade in the future. You could even use this in future builds if you really want to. If you decide in the future that you want an i7 instead of an i5, you can do that. This really gives you a great opportunity to be able to really, not future-proof because I hate using that term, but really give you an opportunity to upgrade in the future. And that's just about it. I'm probably going to be doing a video shortly on different things that you should buy for your computer but aren't necessary, and those include peripherals like keyboard, mice, headsets, and things like that. So be sure to subscribe if you want to see more of that. And this is pretty much all I've got for today. This is a really great computer. I don't really know what else to say for it. You're going to be able to do a lot of different video rendering, video editing, and different things like that aside from gaming. So if you're into different YouTube things where you're going to be making videos, rendering videos, 3D rendering in Cinema 4D or Maya or Blender or anything like that, this is really going to optimize those experiences for you. So if you like the video, make sure to subscribe so that you can see other things like this, and make sure to like the video as well. I'll include a PC part picker link in the description. If you've watched this far, make sure to check the description. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.